A minister had just closed a revival in a large Midwestern city. Boarded a train on his way home. He found himself seated by a young man and started talking. Just kind of a conversation. Well, he noticed he didn't get an answer, and he turned to the young man, and tears were streaming down his face. He said, "Son, I'm a minister. I'm a preacher, and I'll be glad to help you any way I can." And with that, the young man started his story. He said, "Preacher, 2 years ago at home, I was so mean that Mom and Dad couldn't do anything with me. I'm so sorry for all the heartache, pain, and trouble I caused them. Preacher, I even went as far as to hit my dad with my fist. And he told me then, 'Son, I know it's going to break your mother's heart, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Just get out, get away. We don't want to see you anymore.' For the last 2 years, I've just been wandering here and yonder, all over this country, not knowing where I was going or what I was going to do. And then 3 weeks ago at an old-timey revival, I gave my heart and soul to Jesus. I wrote Mom and Dad and told them what had happened and that I wanted to come home. I wanted to come home bad. Well, that's well and good, son, but said, how do you know everything's all right and been forgiven at home? Well, preacher, I told Dad in the letter if it was all right for me to come home to hang a white rag on the top of that old apple tree, that I could see it from this train. And right up here is where we live, but I can't bear to look. Said, would you just look out there and tell me what you see? Well, the preacher, not knowing all the circumstances and all, but he turned and wiped away the window from the dust and looked out. He turned to the young man and had a big smile on his face. He said, son, said you hadn't got a thing to worry about. Said, why, that old apple tree is in full blossom. I've never seen so many white rags tied on anything in all my life. And that ain't all, son. Underneath stands Mom and Dad, waving a big old white bed sheet, saying, come on home, son. Come on home. And you know that's just like God. No matter how far out in sin we are, or what all we've done, He's still standing with arms outstretched, saying, come on home, son. Come on home.